Today's question, is a PMIS the cure for your project software sprawl? By the end, you'll be able to utilize a project management information system to consolidate scheduling, collaboration, and reporting tools into a single source of truth. PM Panda here, 2.5 decades delivering projects, PMP certified since 2003. The mistake I'm about to show you is how budgets really die when teams value their personal convenience over project consistency. We are going to look at why your current digital toolbox is likely a massive fire hazard and how to integrate your systems before the auditors find the mess you've been hiding. Ever missed a critical project update because your team uses 5 different chat and scheduling apps? You know the feeling. The official schedule is trapped in an offline spreadsheet on someone's desktop. The real issues are buried in a mountain of random emails, and the team is chatting on 3 different messaging platforms you don't even have the logins for. Documents are floating in various cloud storage folders like digital ghosts, and you spend 4 hours every Friday just trying to figure out if anyone actually did any work this week. You aren't managing a project anymore. You are acting as a highly paid digital archaeologist, hunting for status updates across a dozen apps instead of making the hard decisions that actually keep a project on track. This software sprawl creates a dangerous environment we call shadow IT, where everyone has their own private version of the truth that never seems to match anyone else's. It leads to massive duplicated effort, stale data that is 3 weeks old by the time you see it, and a complete lack of real-time visibility for your stakeholders. When the board asks for a status report, you're forced to stitch together a Frankenstein's monster of screenshots and guesses because you lack a unified view of the work. This invisibility hides critical risks until they are too big to fix, turning minor delays into project-ending disasters. You need to implement and enforce a centralized project management information system to integrate your data and finally reclaim control of your workflow before the chaos swallows your professional reputation whole. In professional certification exams, we define a Project Management Information System, or PMIS, as a comprehensive ecosystem of tools used to gather, integrate, and disseminate every single output of your project management processes. Think of it as the central nervous system for your project that provides a unified interface for your scheduling software, your work authorization systems, and your knowledge repositories. Instead of having information scattered across different silos, the PMIS acts as the single source of truth where everything from technical specifications to budget tracking lives in one searchable place. If you are building a new airport terminal, you cannot have the structural engineers using one system while the electrical team uses another without a central hub to tie them together. A proper PMIS isn't just a static folder. It is a dynamic information system designed to handle the flow of data from the moment a task is conceived to the moment it is closed out. It integrates the technical tools used by your specialists with the administrative tools used by the management team to ensure that no piece of data is left floating in isolation. This system ensures that when a change is made to a resource requirement in the procurement module, the impact is immediately visible in the cost management plan and the project schedule. Without this high level of integration, you are not running a professional project. You are running a collection of disconnected hobbies that happen to be sharing the same budget, and eventually, those hobbies are going to collide and cost you your sanity. To really kill off the software sprawl that is keeping you up at night, you must leverage virtual collaboration tools within your PMIS to keep everyone on the same page. These are the software applications specifically designed to facilitate communication and coordination among team members who might be spread across different time zones or even different continents. In a modern project environment, you need to synchronize your task lists so that when a developer in Bangalore updates a bug report, the manager in London sees the impact on the timeline immediately. By consolidating your communication into your primary platform, you prevent data silos from forming where decisions are made in private chats and then forgotten by the rest of the organization. One of the biggest perks of a consolidated PMIS is that it finally puts an end to the manual labor of building weekly status reports that no one actually reads anyway. A proper system automates the gathering and reporting of your key performance indicators, or KPIs, pulling data directly from the tasks your team is already completing within the system modules. You can set up what we call information radiators, which are highly visible digital displays like dashboards and burn-down charts that provide the current project status at a single glance. Instead of stakeholders emailing you every Tuesday for an update, they can simply check the digital dashboard to see real-time performance data whenever they want, which frees up your time for actual leadership. I've seen how this plays out in the real world, and it is rarely pretty before it gets better, but the results are worth the initial friction of change. I once walked into a massive infrastructure rollout where Shadow IT was hiding a critical schedule variance that was about to blow the whole budget apart. Every vendor had their own private spreadsheet, and they were all reporting that they were on track. But when I looked at the actual integration of their timelines, the gaps were large enough to drive a truck through. We had to do a complete PMIS rollout to centralize those disjointed vendor schedules into a single platform that everyone was required to use as a condition of their contract. Once we had that single source of truth established, the project's health became undeniable, and the excuses started to evaporate because the data was public. We went from guessing where we were to knowing exactly where the bottlenecks were located within 48 hours of the system going live and the vendors being forced to log in. If you do not mandate a central system, your vendors will naturally gravitate toward whatever tool hides their delays the best, and you will be the one left holding the bag. The transparency provided by a PMIS might be uncomfortable for your underperforming team members, but it is the only way to ensure that you are actually managing based on facts rather than optimistic fairy tales told in private emails. Let's look at how this works in a complex scenario like an international hospital construction project where the logistics are a nightmare and the stakes are incredibly high. In this case, the project manager is dealing with a global architectural team, local builders on the ground, and specialized medical equipment suppliers from overseas, all of whom are using different apps. The PM is drowning in software sprawl, receiving architectural updates via email, construction photos via a messaging app, and equipment delivery dates through a proprietary vendor portal that does not talk to anything else. To stop the bleeding, the PM establishes a strict PMIS mandate across the entire project, requiring every single contributor to use the central platform for all updates. The PM starts by migrating the builder's physical task boards into a digital Kanban board within the PMIS, ensuring that every brick laid is tracked in the same system as the schedule. This move alone eliminates the need for 3 different status meetings a week because the progress data is now visible to everyone who needs it in real time. Then, the PM links the architect's design document repository directly to the specific schedule milestones within the PMIS to ensure total alignment between the blueprints and the builders. Now, if a design change is made to the operating theater layout in Europe, the construction team on the ground sees it immediately attached to their upcoming tasks before they pour any concrete. To keep the steering committee happy, the PM sets up an automated earned value dashboard that pulls real-time data from both the schedule and the budget modules. When a major supply chain delay hits the specialized imaging equipment from the overseas supplier, the PM updates the delivery date in the central schedule, and the system automatically recalculates everything. The executive dashboard updates instantly, showing the projected impact on the opening date and the budget without the PM needing to spend all night drafting an emergency memo. By mandating PMIS usage for external vendors early, the PM has turned a chaotic mess of disconnected apps into a streamlined information machine that provides total clarity to every stakeholder involved. Here's what most people get wrong after 25 years of me watching this happen across dozens of different industries. The biggest mistake is treating the PMIS as just a glorified Gantt chart. If you only use it for the schedule and fail to integrate your risk registers and team communication, you are just creating another expensive silo. This failure to integrate forces the team right back into using those fragmented apps you were trying to escape, and the software sprawl just starts all over again. Another classic blunder is skipping the team training and assuming everyone just knows how to navigate a complex system without any guidance or set ground rules. A PMIS is the essential central hub that gathers and integrates every output of your project to ensure everyone is working from the same version of reality. By utilizing virtual collaboration tools and automated dashboards, you replace the soul-crushing work of manual reporting with real-time information radiators that keep your stakeholders informed. Your actionable next step for today is to audit your team's current software tools and identify at least 2 redundant apps that can be immediately replaced by your primary PMIS platform. If this breakdown helped you see through the software fog, hit like so I know to make more, and subscribe if you want real-world practitioner lessons every week.